G'day everyone. Something that I've been meaning to experiment with for a while now is SMD, and to see if there's any useful applications that you can use it for with guitar pedals. And I found a few things that are so far. I've only had this stuff not too long now, and my SMD soldering is terrible, but I'm hoping to get better with a bit of practice. I don't think it's going to replace through-hole. It's just not going to happen, because through-hole, from what I've learnt so far, SMD you got to get right first go when you particularly when you solder it down. I know you can remove them, but it gets messy, and it's much easier just to get the component on first go. I don't think there's as much room for experimenting as well, which kind of goes hand in hand with this do-it-yourself guitar pedal stuff. So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like powder coating. If you've got a run of circuit boards that you want to do, then I think SMD could be good. But if you're just doing one-offs, I don't think it's very good. I don't think that's what it should be used for. Another thing I found that was quite useful for was I rebuilt my germanium transistor tester, the small bear one, and it has a 1 meg resistor on the circuit. And I thought, just to save a bit of room, I'd just tack on an SMD resistor on the bottom. These are 0805 size, and I'll show you how big that is in a moment. But you can see on the bottom there, I'll just zoom in so you can see it. You can see that little black dot. This camera takes them. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there. So you can just sort of tack it on between the two tracks like that. It'll just bridge the two tracks like that. So I thought that was a pretty good use for this particular application. Another thing that I've recently had made up were some boards from OSH Park. I might actually do a different video on the actual order from them. But yeah, I've got it's just a LPB1, I think it's the EHX booster from the 70s, I think it is. And I just wanted to do like a little SMD version on it, and you can see this is the board, and I'm going to zoom in as much as I can here so you can get a nice close-up. Now look at that transistor. You'll notice that it's actually not on straight. Hang on, I'm going to put it on the bench so it doesn't give you seasickness, so I'll just put that down on the bench. So that's about as close as I can zoom into it before it just won't focus anymore. But yeah, as I was saying, that you can see that transistor's orientated kind of strangely on the board. Actually, I should have checked the pin out, and I had the pins connected all wrong. So, you know, obviously this is a bit of a learning experience for me. This is the first time I've ever done a fabricated board, the first time I've ever done any boards with SMD, and the first time I've ever even soldered SMD. So it's totally new to me. So you're just gonna have to forgive me for my poor soldering and, you know, a few layout problems. But yeah, that's why I was saying before with experiment. I mean, obviously you can't use sockets with SMD. I mean, you could socket that transistor if you wanted to play around with the transistor and just leave the rest as SMD components. But actually, I'll show you something as well. I'll just put something on the table here just so you can see the actual size of the components. So yeah, just as a size comparison, just so you can sort of see how big this board is. Everyone loves Tic Tacs. I know you love them as much as I love them. That's a Tic Tac. So you can see it's pretty bloody small. And actually, I'll show you just a component on its own next to the Tic Tac. So this is the Tic Tac, just next to a resistor, and you can see. I mean, it's pretty small. If you've got shaky hands, or you know, like, or if you get headaches from straining, like looking at things a long time, that's another problem with SMD. I've found that you've really got to focus on what you're doing, and you've got to have a steady hand when you're actually soldering this stuff onto the board. So it's got its pros and cons. I mean, the obvious pro is that, I mean, you end up with a board that's you know, tiny. And this is going to go into a 1590A. I reckon you could fit about 10 of these in a 1590A. It's just so damn small. and I didn't actually measure those pads, but if I suspect, I reckon a 9mm pot could actually go into that too, which would save a hell of a lot of room. But yeah, I don't have a source for 9mm pots, unfortunately. But yeah, you can just get an idea of how small you can make things. I mean, it's only a boost, you know, it's not a big circuit, but I mean, you know, it's just so small. I mean, if you're doing something on a small scale, yeah, SMD might be the way that you want to go with it. And I haven't tested it, but I'm pretty confident it's going to work. Even with my sloppy soldering, I'm pretty sure that it'll work okay. So, you know, it's not, the soldering's not neat and all, but it will work properly, and obviously I'll get better as time goes on. So I'll do a separate video on the actual board that I've gotten from OSH and the experience just with how I went with ordering it and all that. Just a little mini video just on that on its own. But this is just this video is just mainly about some uses that you might be able to use with SMD. And if you actually use SMD for guitar pedals, yeah, drop a comment. I wouldn't mind knowing some of the applications that you use them for and what you find them good and bad for, or if you've had a bad experience with SMD or you tried it and you didn't like it, those sorts of things. Just be interested to see what how other people have gone with SMD for guitar pedals. So far, I wouldn't say I've had a bad experience with it. I'm still sort of on the fence. After I finish these boards, I'm not sure if I'll use it again. I think it's really going to come down to the actual effect. You know, I mean, you're obviously not going to use SMD for a Dr. Boogie because you'll end up going blind. But for something simple like this, you know, it's yeah, it works out pretty well. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more do-it-yourself guitar pedal tutorials, videos, and demos. Thanks for watching. And now I'm going to eat this Tic Tac.